You are an amazing person with amazing accomplishments.
Became an estate agent, and then, long story short, did that 4 or 5 years, and then started one of the biggest online fitness businesses in the world.
I remember when I first won my first world title, someone said to me, and there was whispers in the background from other athletes, other competitors saying, I didn't deserve to win. Then I went on and won the second one. They're still saying, I didn't deserve to win that. Then I won the third one. And all the people, the naysayers that said I didn't deserve to win my first and second were now saying, oh my God, what an amazing athlete.
There's no one out there who's actually teaching, like, who actually does the thing and can teach other people to do the thing.
I've done it, and I've proven to myself what I can achieve with self-discipline, consistency, and refusal to give up. Yes.
I never felt I was good enough. I never felt successful. I felt I was letting my family down.
I've come to you with my business with a mindset, not feeling that I was good enough as a coach to charge the fees I was charging. I didn't think anyone can pay that.
When you get momentum in life and you get a taste of what winning feels like, you want it more and you want it more and you want it more. And
it's a fact. When you pay for something and it's valued at a certain monetary value, you're going to pay attention. Like, one of the things I was thinking about when I was making my way here to do this podcast is if I can plug my brain into your brain, the amount of information I can gather and the amount of how I can propel my business forward is just phenomenal.
When you get someone who knows how to do everything, you're not paying them for the 30 minutes you're having a consultation or you're speaking with them. You're paying them for all of the years of experience they have and all the mistakes they have, because they know what you don't know.
You're such a humble character, and I think you should be beating on the drums a lot louder on what you can actually do, because I'm a living proof of it. What I've achieved within my business with your support and help from your team, it's been phenomenal. Welcome to the Winning Mindset Podcast. My name's Wale Adesimoye, your host. I think I know a thing or two about winning. I'm a 5-time bodybuilding world champion. I've travelled the world, trained with some of the best bodybuilders on the planet, some of the best athletes on the planet, and I have the privilege to be sitting here with none other than Charlie Johnson. Charlie, you are an amazing person with amazing accomplishments, and I just want to speak to you to find out your backstory. So just introduce yourself to the audience that don't know anything about Charlie Johnson and what you're about.
You gave me goosebumps, that intro. So I have like the hairs on my arms stood up. So the power of like energy of Wale. So my backstory was someone who thought I was a failure, failed basically as a personal trainer, became an estate agent, and then, long story short, did that 4 or 5 years, and then started one of the biggest online fitness businesses in the world. We have about 1,300 active high-ticket clients at the moment. And then around 2 years ago, we set up 7-figure scaling systems to help trainers achieve the success I have had, because there's no one out there who's actually teaching, like, who actually does the thing and can teach other people to do the thing. And the same thing about you being like jacked in great shape. You're a 5-time world champion. You obviously know how to fucking do that. Same for me in terms of like growing businesses. I've grown a fitness business very quickly. I've grown this very quickly as well, like some big scaling systems, because I know how to basically do that and how to like put the ducks in line. And when you know how to do it, you know how to teach it, and you know how to get amazing results, which is like exactly what's happened with you.
Yeah, I mean, that's just amazing. For me, I'm a big, if any of the listeners don't know out there, I'll be honest with you, Charlie Johnson, he's actually my business coach, because I saw what Charlie was doing. I was watching from a distance, and he was absolutely crushing it in the online space. And I was on with another online coach, OTE to be precise. I'm not going to slate them for anything. They did what I needed to do at the time to get me to where I needed to do. When I need to go to that next level, I knew I needed Charlie Johnson in my life. So I've got a couple of questions here that I'm going to ask you. What inspired you to push on to your current path and to becoming successful in your field?
If I'm transparent, so obviously this is a mindset podcast, and I think anyone who's looking for huge success, which I would suggest everyone deep down wants to have, you're driven from a place of huge insecurity.
Yes.
I never felt I was good enough. I never felt successful. I felt I was letting my family down. I felt I was letting my future children and family down. And that was a burning desire that I had as a chip on my shoulder, and a chip on my shoulder I still have. And the way I see it is like, when you get momentum in life and you get a taste of what winning feels like, you want it more and you want it more and you want it more. And for me, that taste of what winning feels like is when you message me the other day, like, I've just done this, or someone messages me or else comes up to me at an event and is like, I fucking changed my life. And that's the power you have in changing people, like adding years to life and getting them maybe confident to find the partner they want. And that's the ability I have to change maybe people's financial future and the way they can provide for their future family. And when you really think like that in terms of how you can impact other people as like a second order consequence, it's wild. And when you get to that place, you should never lack for motivation. But I think the reality is why people lack motivation is they are afraid of doing the hard thing. And I think my opinion as a man every day, it's difficult, life is hard, but life is supposed to be hard if you want to achieve great things.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing what you just said there. I want to touch on what you said in regards to not feeling good enough. And I remember when I first won my first world title, someone said to me, and there was whispers in the background from other athletes, other competitors saying, I didn't deserve to win. Then I went on and won the second one. They're still saying, I didn't deserve to win that. Then I won the third one. And all the people, all the naysayers that said I didn't deserve to win my first and second were now saying, oh my God, what an amazing athlete. You know, and then I thought, do you know what? F you. I've done it and I've proven to myself what I can achieve with self-discipline, consistency and refusal to give up. And for me, that mindset of not feeling good enough, it still sits within me because I've come to you with my business with a mindset not feeling that I was good enough as a coach to charge the fees I was charging. I didn't think anyone can pay that. So the reason why I want to touch on that is the limited belief that I had, what you did for me as a business coach to help me shift that, because this is a mindset podcast and the winning mindset. What did you do for me, just to the naked eye and people listening out there, to help me shift my mindset from that limit belief of not feeling I was good enough to charge the price I was charging to what I'm doing now? What did you do?
Having unbelievable belief and certainty in you. And like, a lot of the time I speak to people on calls and I just laugh. Like, why are you laughing? You're so confident. Because I fucking know. Because time and time and time again, people come to me in the same position, like they have a great skill set and none of them have the accolades you have, and their business 3x's by just doing like one or two things. I'm like, when you've done this a lot of times, you can see the patterns, and the greatest skill in business is pattern recognition. So I know wholeheartedly straight away with like 1,000% certainty when someone will do well, and I will be honest with that person. And the biggest problem we have right now, and myself included, is the person holding us back right now in life is the person looking us back in the mirror. And you need someone from a different perspective to come in and be like, yeah, you can fucking do this, Wally. You've got 5 times world champion. Why are you fucking doing this? You're underselling yourself. Whereas the reality is, if you want a successful business, I've filmed a lot of YouTube videos on this recently. You need to charge higher prices, and that's how you create like real results for yourself, but also for your clients. Because if your clients also have a lot of money, they don't give a shit if it's £250 a month. They're not going to listen. Whereas if you actually charge them more and you charge them up front and they're committed to the process, that's a mindset shift, and that's how you get to the next level. But too many people are afraid of rejection. And I think that's the problem, is people are worried about people saying no. And if people say no to you, that's actually a good thing, because some people are going to say yes, and the people who say yes are the people you want, and then the people who are going to refer you more of their friends, who are going to be more of the right type of people who are going to pay you what you're worth and also put in the work.
I couldn't agree with you more in regards to that, because, you know, those that pay attention.
100%. 100%.
If I pour, like, you know, $3,000 into something, or pour £250 into something, even me, you know, I treat my Louis Vuitton bag a lot better than I treat my Nike bags.
Well, it's the same as I've got Cartier, 2 Cartier pens, right? I'm like paranoid about losing them because they're expensive. Whereas if it's like a shitty buyer, I don't give a shit. Like, so it's human nature. If you pay for something, you're going to care and put the effort into it.
That's amazing, honestly. You know, honestly, I can't. It's a fact. When you pay for something and it's valued at a certain monetary value, you're going to pay attention. You know, that goes with online coaching. That goes with, you know, with mindset coaching. That goes with everything that we do, business coaching that you're coaching me to do. It leads me on to my next question, because, you know, obviously for me to follow you in the path that I'm following you, I know some of the obstacles and challenges that I'm going to face along the way in business you've already faced and overcome. So what are the challenges that you faced in your personal life and in business that you've overcome that can help the listeners and the audience?
What you just said there is the truest reason why this is very easy for me to help other people. Because I know what happens when your business gets to 30k a month. I know what happens when your business gets to 50. I know what happens when it gets 100, because it happened to me. And to explain what happens in terms of like the mindset you need to have to be very successful with the business, I like to compare it to a submarine.
Yeah.
And what the fuck am I talking about submarine? So like the bigger the business gets, the deeper the submarine goes, the more pressure that fucking comes on, because there's more money involved, there's more people involved, there's more things going on. So the pressure starts to increase, and the deeper the submarine goes, the bigger the business gets, the more the pressure increases. And what most people find is that they don't fucking build their hull strong enough for their mind, and they fucking crumple and implode. And what we really want to focus on is like starting with the operating system, a bit like I spoke about at the event, of like the way you think and control your world so that you have a bulletproof submarine so it doesn't implode. And the way you get yourself to that position is then how anything is possible. And one of my favorite sayings is you want to be paranoid in the present but have unshakable belief in your future. And when you think like that with a strong mindset, you take the right actions every day.
That's powerful.
And then
repeat that again.
So being paranoid in the present but have unshakable belief in your future.
Oof.
Because like as an entrepreneur you need to be paranoid because shit goes wrong all the time. So like you're either going to have a problem or a crisis at any time. There's always something going on, right? And the more you get used to that, you understand that that's a part and parcel of success. And if you don't have problems, you're not going to be successful. So I almost seek failure, knowing that it gives me something to fix or I learn. And the challenges I've had have everything. That's why I made jokes at the event about like I've got 2 cats now. Like one's for like Stripe, our payment system. The other one's for like Facebook. So like I've heard Facebook ad accounts, Stripe accounts disabled. We're bringing like £30,000 a month that I never got back. I've had bank accounts locked with £100,000 in them for like 6 months. I couldn't get the money out. I've had my Instagram account disabled for 3 weeks. And like probably the worst story in terms of like bad timings, I was going to actually teach at the event, but I might do another one, is January the 6th, 2022, sorry, I pulled the plug and made the decision to take the leap and burn the boats and move to Dubai, which basically meant I had to have an uncomfortable conversation to get divorced and basically leave the UK. So that day I basically, partner was with her 14 years, had a very difficult conversation. The next day I then had to give away all my personal possessions, including my house. And then the day after that, I was sitting in the Doubletree Hilton in Kingston. I can remember it like it was yesterday, about to speak on someone's big podcast. And my Instagram account gets to the table. I was like, for fuck's sake. And it's like the sequence of events from that. And I remember that time like anything, and it really taught me a lesson, because like my personal life was then imploding. My business life, it felt like it was imploding. And how I handled that, and I say to a lot of people, is like when you have problems in business, numbers are your answer and give you security. So I literally like mapped out, okay, this is how much revenue we make without my main Instagram account. I was like, and this is how much we can run the business on like bare expenses. I was like, cool, I'm still going to make decent money. The world is not going to come to an end. It's not ideal, but it's fine. Long story short, I got my account back 3 weeks later, but that taught me a big lesson also in business in terms of not having all your eggs in one basket, because where most people screw themselves over is they have one thing that works and they think that's going to work forever, and then it doesn't, or something takes it away. And you need to do what's called a SWOT analysis of business. So strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats. And the biggest threat a lot of people have is that they have one lead flow source that's everything. And if someone took that away from them, they're goosed. So for me, that's really understanding the process of like risk mitigation. And in particular as men, we're horrendous from this, that you only really learn from mistakes and like pain. So like something bad has to happen for you to learn, which is why like all these bad things have happened to me, which I've learned from a business, which is why like I say to everyone, like, this is how you need to handle a Stripe like payment gateway. Like, don't let this happen. Do this to stop having issues. I know how to not get disabled on Facebook ad accounts. I know how to handle Instagram accounts. Like, there's certain things you need to do which can prevent big like problems and icebergs like the Titanic.
Yeah.
And that's why I say to a lot of people, it's not necessarily what I tell you that's important, it's what I tell you not to do that's important, because you can make one decision that can set you back 6 months.
It's interesting what you're saying. Just listening to you gives me goosebumps, honestly. Like, one of the things I was thinking about when I was making my way here to do this podcast is if I can plug my brain into your brain, the amount of information I can gather and the amount of how I can propel my business forward is just phenomenal. And I think what you've achieved in such a short space of time, you're such a humble character. And I think you should be beating on the drums a lot louder on what you can actually do, because I'm a living proof of it. What I've achieved within my business with your support and help from your team, it's been phenomenal. So it's just listening to you there. I think if anyone can take away from that is you need to follow someone who has actually basically carved the way for you. You can't go wrong. And I'll add to that in regards to implementation. You know, you talk about implementation. You know, I was really, really bad at implementing because I procrastinate. Oh, what if that goes wrong? Oh, that's not 100% ready. Implement, even if it's 80% ready. If it's 70% ready,
Just do it.
Just do it. You know, get it done, you know. And also listening to you in regards to Stripe account, that's my biggest fear of like what would happen if my Stripe account got disabled, or what would happen if my Instagram got disabled. And now that's when I've started now, you know, just kind of focusing on email marketing, you know, nurturing my emails. I've focused on LinkedIn, you know, so kind of like rather than having all my
spreading the risk.
Yeah, spreading the risk rather than having all my eggs on Instagram, because that's where the bulk of my business was built, and that's where most online coaches, the bulk of their business is built is on Instagram, you know. And now I'm focusing on Facebook, making sure that I'm nurturing my friends that I got within that. You know, I got almost 5,000 friends on Facebook, so I'm focused on that, messaging them, trying to see if I can focus on that. So spreading the load and not just focusing on one point of client coming into the business. But, you know, I can listen to you all day long, honestly, and I want to just kind of, I want you to elaborate a little bit more on what you were saying, because I know you was going to say something there.
I give a really good example of in terms of why experience is important. So there was a story, like a parable, business parable, of like, say a factory, let's say it makes laptops, right? Say they're making £1 million worth of laptops every single day. The fucking factory line doesn't work. Guy goes in, they hire like the best contractor in the world. He goes in, 20 years experience says. He goes in, he looks at everything. In a minute, he draws a big red X on this machine. He's like, that's a problem, you need to fix that. And then he's like, it's 50 grand. He's like, you just came in and drew a red X. He's like, yeah, the red X is like 10p of my time, but you're paying me for like all the experience I have.
Yes.
And that's what you need to understand, is that when you get someone who knows how to do everything, you're not paying them for the 30 minutes you're having a consultation or you're speaking with them. You're paying them for all of the years of experience they have and all the mistakes they have, because they know what you don't know. And if you're in a position right now that you wanted to make, say, £50,000 a month and you're not there already, that's because you don't have the skills yet, and that person probably does. And the longer you don't fill that skills gap, you're going to be basically paying the ignorance tax that you don't know how to make 50k a month. And that's why, like, my obsession is with learning and getting better and getting exposed to new skills, which is why I'm constantly trying to learn. I had Spanish lessons this morning. I'm been training legs, and I'm in a podcast. And I'm going to a mastermind in Miami on Friday. Like, constantly trying to learn, up level your skills, because it sounds corny, but the more you learn, the more you earn, because you then essentially become a human being of huge value, because you can solve lots of people's problems.
Yeah, I think like what you've just said to me there resonate really well with me, and that's remaining forever student. You know, my hunger to learn is way more now as an adult than it was when I was a child. I felt, because I suffer from dyslexia.
I'm dyslexic as well.
Yeah, you know, you're dyslexic. So neurodiversity, guys, if you're neurodiversity, look at us. Yeah. We're living proof that you can be successful. So suffering from dyslexia, I think I'm on the spectrum of ADHD anyway.
Right. Someone actually told me to go and get checked for being autistic.
Yeah, no, I think I'm on the spectrum of ADHD because I can't sit still. I've got concentration span of a goldfish. You know, I really don't know how I run my day-to-day life. And that kind of leads me on to my next questions, because, you know, I know some of the habits that you have, that you've made you, Charlie Johnson, you know, the business owner, you know, or CJ Fitness, you know, and also the 7-figure scaling system. What are your sort of 3 to 5 daily habits that you have that's made you successful, and you can give to the listeners that they can help them implement into their life to have that winning mindset?
The most important thing I would say to them, I'm probably going to relate more to where they are now than where I am now.
Yeah.
Because talking about chapter 12, when you're maybe at like the first few chapters, is a slightly different spectrum. So I would relate this back to when I was an estate agent.
Yes.
I was shit an estate agent and tried to quit after the first year. I then became employee of the year afterwards, because I then like grinded and put myself through the system. And if anyone actually wants to know how I became employee of the year, I basically hacked the system. So if you want to find someone to do a job, find a lazy person to do it, because I find an efficient way. So what I did is I would actually go into the office before everyone else and basically take all the good leads off the computer and then sell them stuff, right? It's smart.
You cheating.
You got to do what it takes, right? It's opportunistic.
Yeah.
So essentially what I then did is that I realised that, which correlated to business and why this is relevant now, that there are certain outputs that drive the input. So for example, when I was an estate agent, it was like, if I have all the leads and I answer the phone before everyone else, I'm going to fucking sell everything. So I was like, that's what I did. And if you look at it from, say, you're an online coach listening to this, or you run a business, what are the outputs you do that drive the inputs? So it's probably going to be making content. It's going to be do outbound messaging. It's going to be showing up in your stories every day. It's going to be getting really good client results. So like, okay, these are the core things I have to do that are really going to be driving like inbound traffic into the business. And when you focus on like the money making tasks and not the bullshit like a lot of people do, you'll tend to go faster. So I'd say the first thing is identify that you're doing the things every day that need to be done to bring in eyeballs and traffic.
So these are your daily habits that you do.
Yeah. So I would focus on that as a habit, and writing that down as a list. So the best thing anyone can do, and this will change your life, is plan tomorrow today. Now, what do I mean by that? Is that, say today is a Tuesday. It's Tuesday. Yeah. At the end of Tuesday, I will write down for 10 minutes what I plan to do tomorrow. So everything is organised. I know what I'm doing, when I'm doing, what's the key tasks I need to do. Whereas most people wake up, they look at their phone and like, what shall I deal with today? And that's why they never move the needle forward with anything in life, because they're not actually prepared. So I'd say plan tomorrow today is a huge one. The second one is, and I shared this on our Facebook group recently, but once a week I'll sit down, I'll ask myself a series of maybe 8 to 10 questions. I literally will write them and then answer the question of like, what went well this week? Literally write what went well. What could I have improved on? What's the main thing I need to focus on this week? How would I rate this week 1 to 10? What's the main thing I want to achieve next week? Who's the person I need to contact with who can help me do this? And when you actually sit and reflect and think about where you're going with everything, you'll go a lot faster, because most people are reactive. And like the big thing I try and think about is trying to bend the world to like what I want, and not be reactive to what everyone else wants. And then when you do that, you can push and forge your own path, whereas so many other people are being triggered by someone else's doing. And those are probably the key fundamentals. And I would say the most important habit from a mindset point of view is understanding that it's the compound effect and it's going to be hard. And there's going to be days like, transparently, I didn't want to go and fucking train late this morning. I was like, I really can't be asked to do this. I really don't want to do this. I really don't want to do this. But I just turn up and do it anyway.
Yeah.
And like 90% of the time, the things I have to do, I don't want to do. But the reality is, the type of person you want to become and the person who's going to be successful just does it anyway.
That's discipline.
And that's where you just learn to remove emotion from the process. And it's like, whether I like it or not, this hack squat set's happening. So it's like, you just learn to switch off and realize, okay, this set's going to be 90 seconds. It's going to suck balls, but I'm going to do it anyway. And even like, I make a joke with people sometimes of like, when something's a bad idea, it's like, let's just do it anyway. Like, because a lot of the times the biggest thing that holds you back is fear. And when you actually deal with the number one thing you're the most afraid of, that's the biggest thing that's holding you back.
No, that's amazing, because my biggest thing in life, I'm not going to lie, my biggest fear in life is going broke, dying. They're my two biggest fear. And I mentioned this yesterday. Why is that my biggest fear? Because one, I come from nothing to the level that I'm at now. Two, dying is like, I'm getting older. I'll be 44 in 2 months. And I feel,
doesn't look it.
I know. I can say this because like it's allowed on this. Black don't crack, baby. So my age, that's my two biggest fear. But those habits that you mentioned, since working with with you on the 7-figure scaling system, are things that I've implemented, like writing down a list of stuff to do the night before. It's really helped me succeed in my business, because I think before I was just waking up and thinking, okay, what do I have to deal with today? My first thing is, obviously, I get out of bed, I wake up, brush my teeth, meditate for 10 minutes, do a little bit of journaling on a 5-minute journal. The app that I use takes me 5 minutes to do. I have my double espresso banana, I hit the gym. Now, when I wake up in the morning, I've kind of time blocked them for the things that I want to do throughout the day, which has really, really helped me. So the biggest habit for me that I can take away that I've implemented into my business is writing down the things that I need to do the night before, and that really helps. But what about your personal life? What are the habits in your personal life that have helped you, with everything else that you're doing?
In terms of personal life, is like, people ask about like work-life balance, right? Like, oh, like, how do you do that? It's like, just fucking, how do you feel? Like, I feel really tired from the event we had at the weekend, so I was like, cool, I'm going to stay in a hotel tonight. And
Me too.
Yeah, like, I feel really tired, so I'm going to go to the beach fucking this afternoon, go to the beach tomorrow, and then like recharge a bit, and I'll be good to go. And that's where I think people overcomplicate that process. And I think people should just do you. Like, if you want to work. If you don't want to work. Like, don't work. So, for example, my girlfriend said to me on Christmas Day, is like, you can go and like do some work if you want. I fucking want to do some work on Christmas Day, because like that's what I want to do, and I like doing a little bit every single day. And I think when you learn to understand your own human psychology and what motivates you, and you're not doing it for like external validation that you're supposed to do something but you want to do something, is because you become very powerful. And it's the same as fitness. When you fall in love with the process of doing something rather than just the end result, it becomes easy. And you know, I said to you earlier about being paranoid in the present but unshakable belief in the future. When you have the belief in the future, you're going to do the work every day, because the way I think about it is that I've already achieved everything I want, but time hasn't caught up yet. So if I just do the right actions every day, it's impossible I'm going to fail. And anyone listening to this right now, no one, if you fucking try your hardest and you everything you're supposed to do, you will never fail. It's impossible. The people who fail, the ones who like, they try hard on the days they feel like it. But 90% of the time you don't feel like it. So if you just do it every single day, it will come. It's just a matter of time. And most people aren't willing to have the patience necessarily to go through the difficult phases, and everyone has them, and then they drop out. And that's where it comes down to being like mentally resilient to be able to handle that.
It's amazing what you're saying, just listening to everything that you're saying in regards to pushing yourself and doing the things that you don't want to do. You know, most of the times I'm doing the things that I don't want to do. And I think, you know, that element of discipline of doing the things that you don't want to do on a day-to-day basis, where you've just said to me, I didn't want to do my leg session this morning, but I still did it. That element of doing physical activity has actually led you and transitioned into your business of doing the things that you do not want to do. So would you say that some of the lessons that you've learned and you've implemented into your business have come from like your training, for example? Would you say that's helped you?
I would say fitness is the greatest gift if you want to be an entrepreneur. Because if you look at the skill set, if you want to be highly successful in fitness, you need to be organized, you need to be disciplined, you need to be consistent. You need to have thick skin, because it's really fucking hard. If you compete, it's really difficult. Like, I understand that, you understand that. If you want to have a business and be really successful, you have to be organised, you have to be consistent, you have to be disciplined, you have to have thick skin because shit goes wrong all the time. Like, it's the same thing. So if you can do one, you should be able to do the other. And that's why, like, one of the things I try to do is do something physically very difficult every day. Because when you go from like killing yourself in the hat square, like this really fucking sucks, or like I like doing rowing conditioning sessions now, like this is fucking horrendous, I feel like I'm going to die, and then like the rest of it feels pretty easy. I'm just sitting on my computer and I just got to do the work. And I think when you start to comprehend that, it's not that hard. And I also take context of like, what does hard look like? I live in Dubai Marine. I look out the window and I see like Indian workers working on construction sites fucking 24 hours a day. I'm like, it's not that difficult. Just get on with it. And I think we tell ourselves a lie sometimes that it's difficult, and woe is me, I'm working so much. And the reality is that the harder you work, the more you're going to get back from it. But it also has to be focused work in the right way, because where most people probably, if you're listening to this and you've been working, say you've been working really hard for the last 12 months and you're in exactly the same position you were fucking 12 months beforehand, you're working hard on the wrong things.
That's amazing. You know, I think, like I said, you know, there's a lot of stuff that people can take away there. For me, even as an individual listening to you, I've taken away elements of snapshots there where I can actually start implementing this into my life. Leads me on to my next question right now. How do you maintain that winning mindset against all that sort of adversity that you've had with your Instagram account getting blocked, with your Stripe account getting shut down with 20k? Did you say?
Yeah, a month.
A month. You know, literally, you just lost that income like that. 20k a month. Jesus Christ. That's like £250,000 a year, guys. That's £250,000 British pounds.
I didn't actually think about it every year.
You know what I mean? That's £250,000 a year. Literally, that's what got locked out. You know, you had a bank account with over 100k frozen. You know, so it's just like, for me, like, it's a pattern that I'm noticing here of all of the successful people that I'm speaking to on this podcast have really bounced back from the bottom to be where they are today. They've worked hard against adversity to be the person they are today. They've come almost like, I can always use this as an analogy from one of my favourite films, that is it Lock, Shack and what's that film?
Lock, Stock and...
That's it. Lock, Stock and what's the...
Two Smoking Barrels, that's it.
No, it's not Lock, Stock and Smoking Barrels.
Snatch?
What's the name of the film? The guy was in prison for and he's crawled through sewer pipe. What is it called?
Jason Statham film?
No, it was anyway, let's move on. It was literally like crawling through 100 meters of sewage, and then coming out clean on the other side. That's what I call successful people.
Well, I think the reality is that if you want to, like, I see myself, I want to be a fucking superhero.
Yeah.
Like, Batman wouldn't be Batman if fucking parents weren't killed.
Yes.
So for you to be able to become someone special, you're going to have to go through hard and difficult things. Otherwise, you're going to be soft as shit like everyone else. So if you want to be a superhero and you want to be someone like, hopefully I will be one day, a father that my children will look up to, you're going to have to go through challenging things to become a person of a character. But the problem is most people aren't willing to face adversity. Adversity comes and then they just fold like a sack of shit, which comes down to the submarine analogy. You need to work on the hull and the mindset to understand that, like you mentioned, when things go wrong, what other option is there? Like, I'm not going to go back and fucking start a job in an estate agent again. And this is why I like entrepreneurship. And I think it got over glamorized. It's not for everyone. Because when you're an entrepreneur, you live by the sword and you die by the sword. If I'm hugely successful, like, that's me. If I fuck up big time, that's also on me.
That's amazing. Going back to what I was saying, Shawshank Redemption.
Yes, sir.
That's my favourite film. One of my favourite films. I couldn't even remember the title because I'm so observant to what you're telling me. I'm trying to take all the information on board that you're telling me on this podcast to actually start implementing myself, because I actually pay you a lot of money every month to coach me as a business coach. So this is almost like a business coaching session, to be honest with you guys. Right, who has been the biggest influence for you in your life, in your personal life and in business? Because you've worked with some of the best mindset business coaches in the world. So just name a few people that have been hugely influenced in your life and helped you personally and in business.
I'd actually say the two biggest people this is ironic because this is on a podcast. The two biggest people who probably had the biggest influence on me I've never met. And one of those is Grant Cardone. I actually spoke about at the event. The other one is Gary Vaynerchuk.
Yeah.
So when I was an estate agent driving around in my Mercedes car in my job thinking like, fuck this shit, I want to get out of this. I listened to Grant Cardone on terms of sales and real estate and basically how to become rich, and then Gary Vaynerchuk in terms of like content and how to like create an audience. And those are probably the two biggest people who had the biggest initial influence on me and probably framed my early business mind in terms of this is how the online platform works.
Yeah.
And then from that point of view, I've probably worked with specialists in all types of different arenas. So like even now I talk about, I've got a Spanish teacher, I've got a fucking speaking coach, I've got a fitness trainer, Luke is my fitness coach. I've got someone who actually trains him in the gym. I hire specialists for different areas of our business. And I think this is where what separates the wheat from the chaff is that the people who want to get ahead and want to get ahead quickly, you need to think who, not how. So instead of how do I make a business who makes 20k a month, 50k a month, whatever, it's like who's the person who can help me get there. And that's all I focus on doing, is identifying what's the problem I have, who's the person who can solve it, and then when you marry those two together with implementing quickly, it becomes very easy.
It's so easy, isn't it? It's like problem, solution, result. It is that simple.
And the solution is going to be a person, because they have the information you want. And that comes down to what I said earlier about like putting the red X on a piece of machinery. That you need someone who's got experience to be like, that's the problem, because they'll fix it for you quick, rather than like you could try and figure out and it takes you a year. Like the money isn't a problem, it's the time you lose that's an issue, because you can't get it back.
That's interesting, because a lot of people are not willing to pay that necessary outlay to invest in themselves. You know, I put a post up the other day on my Instagram saying how much I've actually invested in myself, self-development, over the last kind of 3 years.
Yeah.
You know, it's probably in the range of $50,000.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm sure you probably invested a lot more than I have in that time. So just out of curiosity, how much have you invested in personal development over the last 3 years?
Not a lot. Maybe since 4 or 5 years, about 300,000.
Wow.
But then if you look on the back end of that, it's like nearly 10 million probably in sales we've done. So it's like, you have to understand that the unquantifiable ROI on things is massive.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these mentors and people I've worked with, I've learned things that like I'm now just implementing some of the stuff that I'm seeing the benefits from it further down the line.
Yeah.
Like I might teach you something today on this podcast. It doesn't mean tomorrow you're going to make money, but in 6 months' time, the compound effect of that is wild. And what you also find is that successful people know other successful people.
Yes.
So the network of people I have is wild, because I'm in that network now where I get connected with all the right people and I have all the right information. For example, like all the events we put on are just like friends of mine, and people I know who are willing to come and speak.
Yeah.
Because I have the authority in the network, whereas a lot of people have to pay to get people to come in. And I'll give a good example. Nathan Johnson said this to me actually about the difference between our events and other people's events is like Nathan was the one talking on stage, and like this one we've got people wearing like Richard Mille watches worth $500,000 or whatever, right? So it's like there's levels to
that's,
things.
Matt Haycock's wearing £500,000 Richard Mille.
Yeah,
I had him on the podcast yesterday. He did episode 3.
But that's the reality, and it's like success leaves clues. Like if you surround yourself with really successful people, by default you become successful.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like I always have a phrase that I use, and I love this quote. And eagles do not fly with pigeons.
100%.
You know, if you surround yourself with eagles, you're going to soar to great heights. And it's very important that if you're listening to this podcast, you've got to look at your friendship circle and look at what they're actually doing for you. Are they actually delivering? Are they heading in the same direction as you want to go? And are they on the same mission as you? Are they on that growth, self-development, that refusal to give up will come second? What mindset do they have? Are they dragging you down or pushing you up? These are the questions you need to ask yourself.
Like, the way I look at it is, would they quit?
Yes.
Like, because I wouldn't hang around with people when shit hits the fan, they're going to quit. Because the reality is in life, everyone's going to have a phase where maybe something goes wrong or it's difficult. And you quickly also see, if you're in that position, that who's a real friend and who's going to help you out and who's going to fucking bail. And you also see that the people who quit on themselves, if they quit on themselves, they're going to fucking quit on you.
Easy. So, you know, this is amazing, Charlie. You're just an interesting person. Listening to you just blow my mind. Honestly, I feel like I'm going to have to listen to this podcast over again myself just to kind of take on board some of the stuff that you're saying. Can you share with the listeners some of the tactics and strategies that you have that's helped you and led to your massive achievement? Because I think a lot of people don't realise how successful you are, because you're such a humbled guy. And, you know, when, you know, we talk about, you've made me realise when you talk about money, you know, I used to think £100,000 is a lot of money. Now I think £100,000 is not a lot of money. You know, it sounds rude to say that, but what strategies and techniques have you implemented to lead to your success of Charlie Johnson?
The biggest thing is, like I said earlier, is like consistent learning, but there's also exposure of like environment. So who you surround yourself with. All my friends are really successful. Everyone I speak to is really successful. Everyone I know is successful. So then by default, like, I can't comprehend anything else other than being successful. And I'll give you a good example. A friend of mine in the gym was saying he saw I posted one of our clients made $100,000 a month. He's like, that's fucking insane. And like people who were DMing me like on Instagram, and it's just mental. I was like, for me, that's just normal.
Yeah.
And the reality is that's where your perception gets warped when all you see is success. But one of the key things for you to put yourself in a successful position is to remove all the fucking negative bullshit. So don't watch the news, don't read the papers, don't read all this crap you hear in the media, because all they're going to tell you is that there's no money in the world's falling apart, like there's going to be a recession, whatever. The reality is there's more money in the world than there's ever been before. And actually, from an investing point of view, I'm big into crypto. There's more money sitting on the sides about to be invested than there's ever been before. Like if you've traveled a lot as well, anywhere you go in the world, there's $1 million houses.
Yes.
There's no lack of resources in the world. There's just a lack of resourcefulness to go and get it.
Exactly.
And this comes down to people having limiting beliefs and believing the lie that they can't achieve what they want.
Yeah. That's interesting what you're saying. A lot of things is that we live in the society, especially being English, of being told that, oh, you just go to college, you get your degree, go and work for this blue chip company and, you know, get your benefits of, get your, you know, 50 grand a year, you get your pension, you get your sort of, you know, I guess we got the NHS, but some companies offer private medical cover, all those sort of benefits that you get of just working for that blue chip company, but you'll never actually you won't get to that entrepreneurship and make the millions that you wish to make. You won't live your full potential.
Well, there's a cap. It's like I showed the actual pay slip at the event at the weekend. I was making nearly $100,000 a year. Like for most people, that's insane. But like the reality is, I knew I could never make any more than that. And the lifestyle of what I want to achieve and the things I want to do, I don't want to be fucking stuck at that limit. And when you work for yourself, you quickly see behind the curtain of entrepreneurship that like anything is possible, and you can make as much as you want depending on what you're willing to do to get there. And I'd also say, as a submarine analogy, is like how much stress and pressure you're willing to take to get there.
That's interesting. It's amazing. Like that leads me on to another amazing question, which is goal setting. How do you implement goal setting into your life and the strategies that you use to set your goals? Maybe when we look at like we're coming to the almost halfway through the first quarter of 2024. How have you set the goals for the first quarter, and what are the skill set that you have for goal setting that can help myself and the listeners.
Okay. The most important thing is understanding the values of who you are and what you want. So this is something I've maybe struggled with in the past, thinking that all I want is money and success and that fuck everything else. And I probably felt, even at points last year, I was very disillusioned, and I would maybe use the word unhappy, but I think people think unhappiness is necessarily a bad thing. I wouldn't say. I would disagree to a point, that the fact that if you feel unhappy, that's a motivation that you need to change something in your life that you have the power to do. So, for example, I actually went on like a John D. Martini event, like a self-development thing. Again, hire someone to try and figure out the problem. Like, not that there was a problem. And I realized that my 3 things that are the biggest values to me, one is business wealth creation, because I really enjoy business. Number 2 is fitness and being in really good shape. And number 3 is traveling. And I was like, okay, interestingly, I've been suffering like sacking off a little bit, number 2 and number 3, because I've just been trying to focus on number 1. So I was like, okay, I need to readjust what I'm doing and then try and travel maybe every 6 to 10 weeks, and then I can encompass all that. So like Friday, for example, I go to Miami, I'm going to a business event, that's my core 1 values, I'm going to that. I'm also traveling and also going to go to 6 gyms. So that encompasses all the values of what I want to do. And when I worked out, I'm like, this is really fucking obvious. Now, from that point of view of like setting goals, I will try and set 12-month goals, and a big mistake a lot of people make is they have too many. So generally, I think I have 4 to 5 max. Like, I would never have more than that, and I would have 1 core goal, and that if that goal happens, all the other goals basically tick off. So for us, for example, I know if I get 7-figure scaling system, which is our goal, to 300 clients by the end of the year, most of the goals are all going to tick themselves off, because by default, like, that's going to drive into everything else we do, whether you've got revenue targets, profit targets, investment targets, or whatever. So having a clear thing and understand that, okay, if I want to achieve these 4 things, if I just focus on achieving one of them, will the others just happen? Because if a lot of them are, say, for example, financial and wealth-based, that's generally going to be the case. And the simpler you can make that, the easiest. And a huge hack I'd give everyone for financial goals is actually using AI. So say if you said, say last year I made £500,000, and this year I want to try and make, let's make it more realistic. Maybe say I made £250,000 in 2023. This year I want to make £500,000. Please write me a financial projection for as a breakdown over the 12-month period with 4 quarters. Can you also backload the revenue growth to the second half of the year? And that will basically give you a breakdown in terms of, okay, if I want to hit £500,000, I only need to do this for the first quarter. And at the start of the year, the goals are going to be smaller. And the reason I do this is for 2 reasons, particularly in the fitness industry. The second end of the year is generally stronger for sales. And also, you as an entrepreneur in your business, are you going to have more skills and your business in a better position now or in 6 months?
Hopefully in 6 months.
So your revenue will be higher in 6 months' time than it will now. The market will also be stronger in 6 months' time. So the goal is that we start lower and we build them up throughout the year. So then you just break it down, knowing, okay, I just need to make X amount January, February, March, and focus on 1 month at a time. But where most people struggle with goal setting is they focus too much on like the big number rather than breaking it down.
Yeah, I think that's what it is as well. I think like the analogy that I always use when it comes to goal setting, and specifically with my clients, my online coaching clients, is, I love steak. So if I gave you the best cut fillet steak and I say to you, I want you to eat that whole, most people struggle. But if you was to cut that steak into bite-sized chunks, say a 300-gram steak, you cut it into maybe quarters even, you'll be able to consume that a lot easier than trying to consume the whole thing at once. So that analogy to me, because I'm a visual person, I'm like, okay, that makes sense. I apply that to goal setting. When you say that set small goals and break them down and don't set too many goals, for me, I can relate to that, because I think a lot of people want to be so many. They want to make $1 million in a year. They want to meet their dream wife in a year.
It's too much. And that's where, like, even at the event on Saturday, I broke down of like, to the point, say you run a fitness business, this is how you break down how many calls to book you need to like book every day. How many clients you sign up every week, and then cool. So all I need to do then is I need to book this many calls a day. we just focus on that, and you focus on that every day, and then if you achieve that every day, by default you achieve the other big goal, and then everything else falls in line.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's just, so for me, I love the way you break it down so simple, because I just think the simpler you keep something, the easier it is to implement. And I think a lot of people are trying all these like softwares. I know I was initially. I was trying all this sort of goal setting software, goal setting things, and I think, what am I making it complicated? What do I want to achieve this year? How am I going to achieve it? Break it down into small bite-sized chunks, which is fantastic way of looking at things.
And that's just learning to think critically and be mindful of what you really want and why, and then how do you make that happen? Because the reality is, like, nothing changes. So if someone's in a position right now, they want to make a big change, what's going to be the catalyst? So in a business point of view, if I look at my own business, the big catalyst changes when I hire someone who's really good,
Yes.
or hire someone externally to like teach us something we don't already know. Other than that, nothing else is suddenly going to like change anything dramatically because I read a book or I watched a YouTube video. Unlikely.
That's a good way of actually going on to my next question now. What books, what quotes, and what resources have you utilised to get you to where you are today, and what advice can you give to people? What would be your sort of top 3 books that you recommend? Top 3 quotes and resources, other resources that you've utilised that have really helped you?
I would say the best books that probably everyone should read. So Mindset and Personal Productivity is the biggest issue. So I'm going to give 2 books on that. One would be Atomic Habits by James Clear, that everyone's read, but just reread it again, it'll help you a lot. Second is The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson, which is basically talking about the compound effect of the right decision every day. And then thirdly, it's his second book, but I think it's better, is Winning by Tim Grosvenor. And what I recommend for anyone who, if you're going through a phase where things are difficult, read 5, or you're unmotivated, read 5 to 10 pages of that book, and you'll be like, fuck, like, I'm on it. Because like, I've had phases and I'm like, this is really fucking difficult. So I'm like, I'll go through that book again. I'll just start reading 10 pages of it. And it reaffirms to you, in terms of, in particular if you're competitive, why you want to keep pushing and why you want to keep going far with it. And basically it's just self-mastery. Once you learn to master yourself, everything becomes easy. The reality is most people are too reactive and triggered by other stuff that they can't keep controlling themselves, their own thoughts. Because if you know what your goals are, you know why you want to achieve them, and then you can build the mindset to like keep on task with that, it's a matter of time until you achieve everything you want.
Yeah, that's amazing. The 3 of those books that you mentioned, I've read 2 of those, and I love it. And even when on the plane journey here from London to Dubai, I was still listening to Atomic Habits, because it's a book that I actually recommend to all of our clients, because I just think, you know, James Clear has made it so simple how easy it is to actually implement habits into your life. He's made it so simple. Like, you know, I struggle to read books sometimes, so I listen to a lot of books, audio book. The Slight Edge I haven't read yet, so definitely something I'm going to put in my sort of to do or to read. And Winning by Tim Grosvenor. A lot of people don't know who Tim Grosvenor is. So I'm going to say basically Tim Grosvenor was the guy that actually coached Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Dwayne Wayne. So he's an amazing individual that he knows a thing or two about winning, you know, and he's a simple guy but effective.
And I think where people need to understand as well is, like, if you look at Michael Jordan's a good example, if you want to be exceptional, you have to learn to think differently than other people. And I would say that's why I've done very well in this industry, is because I think differently than others, because I've done what they can't do. Because if you look at, before Michael Jordan came into basketball, players were either offensive players or defensive players. Michael Jordan came in, he became both.
Yeah.
He could defend and attack.
Yes.
And when you learn to try and break the narrative of what's possible, which is really what I felt my career's been built on so far, that's where you become unstoppable, because you're the first one to do it in a different way. Because too many people like follow each other around like sheep, and if you want to try and replicate, but in your own mold.
Yeah.
So, and even as Picasso says, is like, he basically would see someone else's art and then copy it as his own. That's basically the way business works. You're unlikely to try and find something someone else hasn't done before. You see what someone else does as inspiration, and you just make your own version way better.
No, that's amazing. I think like I said to you, for me, when you was talking about really looking at what you're doing, I can't be Charlie Johnson.
No, and you shouldn't be.
No, I know, but what I'm trying to do is replicate what you're doing and make it even better.
And your own version.
Yeah, and the reason why I really resonate with you, people like working with people that are very similar to themselves. I can relate to you in so many ways, and I see a part of myself in you. That's why, as a business coach, you're the best I've ever had. You know, and I can't sing the praise of Seven Figure Scaling System enough on this podcast, because the team that you have around you are a team of experts. You know, they're all, in my opinion, eagles, and we're literally surrounding ourselves with eagles. And I think what you're doing and the value you're providing for online coaches, I don't think you realise how powerful it is. And if you don't realise, I think you should be charging a lot more for what you're doing than what you're charging. I'm going to say it right now, because those that pay attention. So charge a lot more for what you're doing than what you're already charging for people coming on board, so we can have a limited group. We don't want the group to be too big.
I'll tell you a story about that as well. I actively turn people away sometimes if I don't think they're a good fit. So even to work with me more personally. So I had a lady who wanted to work with us recently, who I quoted 100K to work with one-to-one, because I didn't really want to like work with her respectfully. And that's where you put yourself in a very good position of power, where you have an abundant mindset, where I'm like, I'm not that bothered. I understand my time is more valuable than the money, maybe the hassle that comes with this. So at some point, maybe it's worth it. But at that point for me, it was like, yeah, if it's 6 figures, I'll probably do it. If not, it's not worth the headache. And that's where you have to understand that you sometimes have to say no to some money so you can say yes to a lot more.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. You know, a lot of people are quick to say yes to a lot of things which doesn't benefit them. It may benefit them in the short term, but in the long term, it doesn't benefit them. So one of my things that I always look at is, I look at the people that are coming into Precision Performance Coach in my business, and I look at, are they going to actually follow the plan? Are they going to actually get the results that I want? Because I'm actually very passionate about what I do. This is what I love. You know, if I was to be given 10 million quid today, I'll still do what I'm doing today. You know, I'll probably be living in Dubai. You know, but I still be doing what I'm doing today because of the fact that I love helping people. My legacy, I don't want it to be about Wale, the 5-time world champion. Wale, the bodybuilder that's travelled the world and trained with some of the best coaches and the best bodybuilders on the planet. I want it to be about how many people I bless along the way and help. And I'm sure that that's exactly what you want for the 7-figure scaling system, because I listen to you, and when I listen to you, you speak with a lot of convincing and passion. And to me, I can resonate with that quite a lot. And I if I can just tell you one thing, I'm grateful to have you in my life as a coach, and I'm grateful to have you in my life as a friend, because, you know, what you do it with a lot of passion. And I hope you don't lose that.
No,
you know,
it's nothing gives me more fulfillment than seeing other people win.
Yeah, that's amazing, because that mindset of seeing people win, a lot of people are envy success, but you embrace it because you're very successful yourself in your own right. You know, when you can embrace success and see that actually by surrounding yourself with more successful people, it's going to elevate you and your success. Because I look at it like this: if I walk into the room and I'm the biggest earner in that room, and I'm in the wrong room. You know, it's like the 7-figure scaling system that we did over the weekend. I was probably in the bottom rank of earners within that room. And that's what motivates me, because I'm thinking, right, what are the top earners doing in this room that I'm not doing? You know, and I want to then start looking at what they're doing and start implementing that, and start listening to them, start watching their content, taking ideas from it, implementing it into my own, not copying. But, you know,
Picasso.
Yeah, Picasso. I call it Picasso. But, you know, it's been interesting talking to each other, and I just want to ask you one last question. You know, what advice would you give to a young entrepreneur coming up, online coach coming up, not sure what to do, not sure if they should invest in like business mentoring? What advice would you give? Entrepreneur, online coach, someone that wants to invest in 7-figure scaling system. What advice would you give them?
If they're fresh out the gate, it's going to be the complete opposite that a lot of people are going to tell them. Don't quit your job if you've got a job.
Yeah.
Use your job to pay someone, doesn't have to be, it can be whoever you like, to teach you how to do it.
Yes.
Because you will get ahead a lot further.
Yes.
That's essentially what I did. I built my fitness business whilst working a full-time job. Was it difficult? Yes. Did I work a lot? Yes. Did it pay off? Yes. So if you're in that position, then I would say work your full-time job, use that money to pay someone to teach you how to actually set up the business, because it will save you about 3 years. Or it will never work if you try and do it on your own. If it's someone you're in the phase where maybe you're making 5 to 15K a month and you're thinking, I'm doing really well, the reality is you're telling yourself a lie, because where you could be with the right guidance and information in 6 months' time is 2 to 3x that. Because a lot of people, in particular in the UK, get stuck in that narrative that they make 5k a month online. They're like, I'm fucking killing it.
I'm balling.
Yeah, I'm Billy.
That's what I was like.
Yeah, but like, and I'm Billy Big Shot. And the reality is, like, and I'll be quite blunt with people, like, it's fucking crap. Like, you can do way better than that, but they don't see it because the environment they're in is all like low standards.
Yeah.
Whereas when you put in an environment like, not that I'd say you need to shame people, but I think as men in particular, if you're in an environment you're the fucking worst out of 100 people who are like, fuck this, I'm not having this happen again.
Yeah.
So like, it lights the fire. So you need to get the right environment around you to move yourself forwards, and your future self will thank you, because 2 years of hard work, you will change your entire family fucking lineage.
Yeah.
But most people aren't willing to put in the sacrifice initially to understand that. The way I think of it is this: people think that when they join a mentorship, that the hard work starts when the hard part starts when they join the program, they're doing the coaching.
Yeah.
That's not the fucking hard bit.
No.
The hard bit is actually making a decision. You're like, yeah, fuck, I'm going to pay Charlie, I'm going to pay Wally, I'm going to pay whoever to do the thing to change my life. The hard part is making the decision, and most people are too indecisive.
Yeah.
And if you're decisive, what happens is when you start, say for example, a business mentorship, it then becomes easy because you know what you have to do, you know when you have to do, and then you just have to do it.
Yeah, that's amazing. I think that definitely I'm the procrastinating mofo. Listen, I can procrastinate. How many calls did we have before I signed up? You know, we had
we've known each other a while.
Yeah, we've known each other a while. You know, I've done a podcast with you in Vegas. You know, we had a call before that. We had a chat in Vegas. We had another call, and I was still arm and narrowing, and it was probably one of the best decisions I made, because you know it changed my trajectory and the way I looked at my business overall. I just think, you know, for me, I want to say a massive thank you to you personally, you know, openly, to say without you and the stuff that you've taught me, my business wouldn't be where it is today. So I can't.
You won't be buying properties in Dubai.
No, I wouldn't be buying properties in Dubai. I just literally bought my first property in Dubai, and that's knowing that I'm comfortable in the position that I'm in to be able to do that. So I want to personally thank you for everything that you and your team has done for me in the past sort of like 5 months we've worked together. I want to leave you with this. How do people get hold of you? If someone wants to, if an online coach is listening to this podcast now and they want to join the 7-figure scaling system, how do they get hold of you? And also, how did my audience follow you, Charlie Johnson, on your journey to making $1 billion?
The first goal is we'll get to 100 million, and that's what
a billion.
For anyone who's interested to join the mentorship, what I would suggest, or if you have any questions, whatever, if you just message my main Instagram account at Charlie Johnson Fitness and just say you listen to the podcast with me and Wale, I would also suggest, if you want a lot of educational information that will help in terms of how to build a business online, we basically have a daily YouTube video going up at the moment. If you put in YouTube, Charlie Johnson Scaling Systems, it's basically a blueprint in terms of how to build your business on there. And when you see that and you start to break these things down, you realize how easy this is. You just need the right plan.
So across all social media platforms,
just
Charlie Johnson Fitness.
Yeah, it'll turn up.
Yeah, it'll turn up. So guys, if you want to follow Charlie, go on Instagram, follow Charlie Johnson Fitness. If you're looking to sign up for online coaching, make sure you look out for Precision Performance Coaching as well. And if you're looking to join and you're an online coach, 7-figure scaling system, I want to say a massive thank you to you, Charlie. Big handshake by saying thank you for coming along. I know that the greatest gift you can give someone is your time, and I value your time, because I know you're probably about 100 grand an hour.
Maybe not that much yet, but soon.
Yeah, $2 grand an hour maybe. So you know, I haven't paid you $2 grand to come on this podcast, but you know, you've been here for almost 2 hours, so I really appreciate that. And like I will say it once again, the greatest gift you can give someone is your time, and I appreciate the gift that you've given me. If you enjoy this podcast, guys, make sure you share it, like it. Let me know who you'd like me to interview, because for me, I want to go around the world interviewing the most interesting people, the most successful people to succeed, and let's all get swole like wow. Excellent.